First, we're going to see a pre-recorded video that Tina's kindly done for us, and then Deb will give us some further information.
Thank you for watching my video today. I hope I'm able to leave an impression on you and that you see beyond my diagnosis of Huntington's. Hello, my name is Tina. I am a woman, a mother, a nana, a daughter, a sister, an auntie and a friend. It would be too easy to say that I feel invisible, instead I feel painfully visible and entirely ignored. This quote is from David Levithan and is just as it is for me. You can see from my photographs that I love life. I love to walk on the beach, it feels so magical. I also love spending time with people that understand and hear me. So what helps me feel fabulous? Pretty cool cotton dresses, floating in water, flying a kite, fresh air and the beach. When supporting people with Huntington's disease, it is important to hear and to listen to make us feel visible again. We have choices.
Microphone girl. Don't fall on my watch. It's too much.
Okay.
Too much paperwork.
Okay. Hello, my name's Tina. I love the beach. I love all my kids. I miss it all.
How do I do it? Thank you very much to Tina for her words. We were able to support Tina to put what was important for you to hear from her today into a presentation for her words to be heard. So my name's Deb Field. I've been asked to speak today about the support that I've provided to Tina. So I guess for me to take Tina's lead in what she did with her presentation, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm an auntie, I'm a friend, I'm soon to be a nana, and I'm also a social worker. So I haven't branded my presentation with where I'm working at the moment. Tina's transitioned with me between organisations. So the work that you're going to hear about today goes across a couple of organisations, and I really just wanted this to highlight I guess what Tina has taught me as a therapist. She's really made me a better social worker, a better woman, and certainly a better practitioner. So the photos that you'll see today have been consented to by Tina to help you understand how she's supported me to understand what she needs from me as a therapist and from the team of people that has been wrapped around her. So if we think about social work in the NDIS system, there's a bit of criteria that goes around it, and it covers a whole lot of things, including case management and advocacy, and the overarching thing is to support people to experience a positive quality of life. And that's been really important in my work with Tina, although certainly not linear. It's taken a whole range of different shapes. Thankfully, I've worked with organisations that are very tolerant of me as a social worker and expect me to massage the rules a little bit and work outside and be creative with some processes and systems that I'm supposed to work within. Certainly, when I first met Tina, it was very much crisis-driven, and I worked with an organisation that did not do crisis work. So I would often ring them when I was chasing Tina over the countryside with a butterfly net and give them a little bit, but I operate with, instead of asking for permission, let's ask for forgiveness afterwards. So there was a whole lot of that going on. So thinking about when I first met Tina, I received a referral to support Tina under NDIS funding. And I read the referral and I thought, holy heck, this woman has not engaged with support for a really long time, and there's a lot of risk associated with what's happening. So I was told that Tina was refusing supports, she was at risk of homelessness, and she was engaging in really harmful and really high-risk behaviours. And I was asked to go along to a meeting with the NDIS support coordinator, and I was told that Tina would be there, and I was told that the housing service would be there as well. And it was around, tenancy and to introduce myself to Tina. What I observed when I first met Tina was she was a woman who knew what she wanted. She was a woman who could definitely hold her own in that meeting. And she was also a woman who looked me in the eyes at the end of the meeting and said, I want to see you again. So, how I left that meeting, I was scared. I was actually quite terrified. I was terrified because I'd never worked with anyone that had lived with Huntington's before. I felt like the biggest imposter. I didn't know enough about Huntington's to be the right person for this amazing woman that I just saw be so strong in a meeting that I attended. So yeah, I really struggled with that. That was a really difficult time. And I worried that I wasn't the right person for Tina. But I decided I needed to honour this woman's express need to see me again. And so I just decided to turn up and see what happened. So from that point, Tina invited me into her home several times a week, and we spent time together. What we're going to talk about over the next little while, I've broken into steps. I mentioned before that Tina and my relationship has not been linear at all. However, when we speak about the journey over the last 2 years, there are certain things that stand out that have been important from Tina's perspective around what approaches really helped her to feel heard. So the first step we took was, from a social work lens put over it, is about measuring and scaling. So we sat down together, and I'm a symbol therapist, so everything's about pictures and tangible things that really resonated with Tina. It doesn't work for everyone, but for Tina, who has some communication barriers, and particularly with me as a new person in her life, it was really awesome to be able to lay down a range of symbols for her to choose from and help me understand things from her perspective a little bit. And we'll see some more pictures of that soon. But what I wanted to do with Tina is to position her where she could help me understand what it felt like when life was really, really crap, and what it felt like to talk about her hopes and dreams and what she wanted her future to look like when we speak of quality. So if we have a look at this simple ladder activity that Tina and I did together, this work happened over a couple of months, and we just started with the bottom of the ladder. And the bottom of the ladder and kind of underneath that ground was baseline. So it was when life was really, really bad for Tina. And you can see the first pink mark on that ladder was when I first become engaged with Tina. So, she shared with me that she trusted only Shannon, that's her daughter. Life, it felt horrible to be alive. She was scared all the time. She felt hopeless, constantly thinking about going to die. She was worried every day about not eating and not taking her tablets. She wanted to kill herself. She felt like shit every day. She was angry, sad, frustrated. And something that stood out the most was that she missed her mum and her sister. So in amongst all of this was, tenancy issues, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs really stood out for me. Housing, food, water, all those things that we need to survive were quite absent and really difficult for Tina. So that's where we needed to start. And for Tina to help me understand what life felt like for her when it was really bad, placed her as the expert. And the more time I spent with Tina, it became clear to me that it doesn't matter that I'm not the expert. It doesn't matter that I don't know anything about Huntington's, because Tina's the expert of her life and she could help me understand how she needed to be supported. Oh, sorry, I'll just go back to that. You'll see as we kept working together, Tina started putting herself further and further up the scale. We were working towards the top of the ladder together because of the top of the ladder, it represented quality of life that Tina wanted to be able to experience. So she wanted to feel happy every day. She wanted to be alive and eating well and spending heaps of time at the beach. So you can see the contrast between the bottom of the ladder and the top of the ladder. And at the beginning, we were right down the bottom, weren't we, Tina? And I was chasing you over the countryside. But that cross at the top of the ladder, Tina's living what she describes as quality of life at the moment, and that's good enough. And we'll have a chat about how we kind of work towards that together. So person-centeredness is something that Tina and I talk about all the time, acknowledging her position as an expert and really keeping my own agenda and my own thoughts and beliefs in check has been really important, and Tina's helped me to learn that along the way. I notice sometimes that my energy shifts, particularly in those early days that I spent with Tina, when she was making some choices that I couldn't understand. And, my energy would shift and there would be a little bit of pushback between Tina and I. And I needed to teach myself to be patient and to give Tina space and opportunity and a whole range of different tools and resources to express it as well as she could to me, to help me understand what was important to her and why she was making the choices she was making. And each time we did that, the energy between us started to sail okay again and we were able to move forward. Tina and I often laugh about those bloody bins, hey Tina? Yeah. So, around tenancy issues, I had lots of different services in Mackay ringing me about people complaining about Tina's bins not getting taken out. And, I'd had high risk for her. Tina did not want to take those bins out. Tina did not want me to take the bins out. No. So we would have many conversations for Tina to help me understand why she wouldn't take these bins out. And, you know, that was a process for me. Tina takes the bins out now, and we talk about she was doing it just to poke the bear, which was Deb. But I guess that example is about the need for patience, and yeah, that's what I've taken certainly from my work with Tina. So person-centred therapy, you know, as social workers, that should be at the centre of all of our work. Particularly in my work with Tina, it was so important, again, around that expert stuff. But when we thought about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you know, once we were able to establish those real survival things that Tina needed, and we had a little bit of stability surrounding her housing, and we had some intervention in terms of swallow assessments, etc., and so we're at a safe level, we were able to look at, you know, what connection meant for Tina, and giving purpose to her life. And, you know, what she was able to describe through simple work to me was that, you know, leaving her home was really difficult for her. When she would go into the community, people would make reports to the police about Tina being drunk or affected by drugs. And, you know, as Tina's social worker, Tina was given out my business card in the community like lollies. So I was getting phone calls from lots of people. So Tina's favourite bakery were ringing me, Coles were ringing me, the police were ringing me, NDIS Commission was ringing me. I had lots of phone calls in those early days. And, you know, what Tina and I spoke about is we want Tina to be able to leave her home and feel safe and feel accepted in her community. And it was important for Tina to remain living in Mackay. She wanted to keep living in her home and in her community that was familiar to her. So we started doing work together around how can we help other people around Tina understand a little bit more about Huntington's disease and a little bit more about who Tina is as the fabulous woman, not so much as the person with Huntington's. So we started, I should mention as well that, you know, at the time I first started with Tina, I've already said she wasn't accepting any supports, but, you know, it was pretty high level stuff. She would physically assault support workers that would try to come into her home, and she wouldn't accept anyone. And in terms of quality of life and safety, which is important to me as a social worker, it was really high risk stuff going on. So we needed a way for Tina to be able to help people see her as a woman and what she needed to be supported. So we worked together to create what Tina calls an All About Me book. So the All About Me book was exactly that. It was helping people understand who Tina is. So not just that she has Huntington's, but who she is as a woman, a mother, a nanny, all of those amazing things. And, you know, things that make Tina feel good, which is the beach and swimming, because when she's swimming or floating in the water, that's where her movements are most relaxed. So I won't go through all of this, but it was important for Tina that I share this All About Me book, because this was quite a pivotal point for Tina. She was involved in creating this book about her and led what went in there. And it really helped support workers and people in the community to understand her and what she needed better. You know, Tina and I do work together around emotional regulation. So we use the zones of regulation together, connecting colour and feelings. And, you know, to put those as clues into her All About Me book was really helpful. So particularly for support workers, when, you know, they were being sworn at or yelled or pushed away, or there's some physical lashing out going on, for them to understand that's because Tina's feeling scared and she's fearful. It's not because she's a horrible person. It's because she feels out of control. You know, people are starting to come into her home. Everything's feeling a little bit different. She had witnessed family members pass from the same disease when they started to accept supports. So this was scary for Tina, and that's what Tina wanted people to know. You know, it was important that we helped support workers in particular, and people ringing me on the phone all the time, a little bit about what Huntington's was. And this was Tina's words around, you know, what Huntington's was, and to be able to put that in her All About Me book was really helpful. You know, it certainly has lots of negative impacts for Tina, but it's also helped Tina in some ways. And, you know, for some things, she's quite grateful. Using the symbols again, it was a way for Tina to be able to express grief and loss about those people from her family that she's lost, but also loss of functioning and loss of her identity as it once used to be. This is a picture of Tina on the beach. What were we doing that day, Tina? Flying a kite. It was the most beautiful day. Do you remember that day, Tina? Yeah. What ended up happening?
You lost it.
You bloody lost it. You let go of it, Tina. You let go of it. And you yelled at me, "Run and get it." And I'm like, really? I told you to hold it. So we went running up the beach together. But it's still stuck in that tree, isn't it? Yeah. It's still stuck there. But, you know, this was a really important day for Tina. It helped again from that narrative therapy perspective to allow Tina to tell stories around what it feels like for her to be free. And that's that quality of life stuff that we were able to sit down and have a chat about after we flew kites together. But, you know, including a page in the All About Me book about specifically and intentionally what support workers can do every day to help Tina feel supported and for support to feel comfortable was really important. So such important things to Tina, such as if you're a support worker who's scheduled to support me on a particular day, don't just knock on my door and let yourself in. You know, that would... How would you feel when that happened? I'll kill you. Yeah. So again, I'd be getting phone calls from support workers. And I would say to support workers, you know, this is Tina's home. We really need to honour her home. It feels scary for her to let people in and support her. So let's acknowledge that and let's respect her space and give her an opportunity to say whether she wants us to support her on that day. And so for Tina to be able to include it in her book, you know, it made it really clear for everyone, and we're able to have supports happening on a regular basis for her. You know, people in Tina's world, from a social work perspective, that's always really important. You know, if we can have community, police, supports, lots of people wrapped around Tina that understand who she is as a person and how she needs to be supported, that's really, really helpful. And the other thing is that as Tina's social worker, who'd worked really intensely with her at the beginning, so sometimes 3-4 times a week in crisis kind of response, and then over time still down to weekly contact. You know, I worried a little bit about dependency that was being built on my role for Tina. And I felt very blessed and honoured to be walking alongside Tina, but it was important that we expand the people in her world, so that Tina could have access to lots of different perspectives, and knowing that, you know, if I'm down the track not in her world anymore, then there's lots of other people that understand what she needs. So this is just a slide to, I guess, reinforce the symbol work that Tina really enjoys doing. So, you know, family connection is so important for Tina. And what she helped me understand over, you know, lots of sessions with symbol work is there's so much grief and loss associated for Tina in family connections. You know, those family roles change considerably with Huntington's. And, you know, Tina has family living in Brisbane that, you know, she really wants to, in some ways, relocate and be close to them. But in other ways, when we look at things, for her to be able to stay where she is going to be really important and really helpful for a variety of reasons. And Tina, for a long time, was very stuck in this place of, I miss my kids and I miss my grandkids, and that needed to be expressed. That's okay to feel like that. It's okay to feel sad and upset and even angry about it. And what symbol work and narrative work helped Tina with is to reframe some stuff and look at what she has control over. And, you know, if you look at this particular picture, you know, the symbols changed over time. So the wolf is the Huntingtons disease, and, you know, that symbol got smaller and smaller as we went along. And then the people representing family started to get more and more. And Tina was invited to think about the title of the page all the time. So it started with, I miss my kids, and then over time it changed to, I love my kids. And we were able to build on that with how can we foster that love and that connection that you want with your kids and your grandkids. And it's through letter writing and photo sending. So, you know, we've got a support team wrapped around Tina now where they will invite Tina to have her photo taken when she's out in the community doing things she really enjoys or is meaningful for her. And we will print those photos out, and Tina will choose which one she wants to send to her grandbabies. And then Tina's invited to say the words she wants to write on the back to really describe what was going on in that picture to her grandchildren in her own words. And then you make me take them to the post office, hey? Yeah, you make me work for your money. Yeah. So lucky, Tina. So lucky. But again, it's about that grounding for me as Tina's therapist. So always checking in with my stuff, you know, and honouring the time that this process needs to happen for Tina. And that's been one of the trickiest parts in my role, because we've got lots of people. We've peopled Tina's world really, really well. So we've got a big stakeholder group, and Tina consents for us to share information on a regular basis. So initially, after every session I spent with Tina, I would get her consent as to what she would like me to share with the rest of the team. And she was always really willing for that to be shared. So we had family, support coordinator, an occupational therapist, and the leader of the support works included in that group email communication. And, you know, that was really helpful because we heard earlier in the first guest speaker that, you know, that ability to recall information is really quite difficult for Tina. So for us to be able to get consent and share information in the moment, it makes us much more able to work together and support Tina in a good way. But when we think about role definition, etc., as a social worker and someone that had been working with Tina for some time and someone that had trust with Tina, a lot of tasky sort of things, I call them, that needed to be done would come back for Tina and I to do. So things like sorting out those bloody bins, or applications that needed to be made. There were lots, I call them tasky things. They're really important things, but what it took away was Tina's expressed need to me that she wanted to do grief and loss stuff. That was important to her. She wanted to do the expression of past trauma that had gone on for her. And that was a really tricky balance to find. And, but I needed to always check in and work out what I needed to honour in the moment with Tina, and she helped me work that out along the way. Oh, are we done? I don't know, it's broken or I'm broken. Oh. Did I break it? Yeah, I think I've talked about that. So, is there anything else you wanted to say, Tina? No? I've got a little bit more to say, and then you might want to say something. But I've already mentioned how much Tina has taught me. She's been my biggest teacher, and I'm so grateful that I took what felt like a risk in those beginning days and said that I would do the work. It felt risky. But Tina has taught me so much, and I want to thank Huntingtons Queensland for inviting me along today, and I hope I have honoured the work that Tina's helped me do with her as best as possible. But also thank you, Tressa, for your kind support and your generosity when I ring in those moments of, Tressa, I don't know what I'm doing. Help me. But yeah, so appreciative of the support from this service also. So what is always in the front of my mind when supporting Tina is her bravery and her strength and her courage that she shows in everything she does and every day that she turns up. So Tina has worked with me on a story from both of our perspectives, and she calls it, I wanted it, I was scared, I did it anyway. So Tina was scared, angry and upset. Tina helped us understand that she was scared of what her future held, angry about not being able to do what she was once able to, and upset at the loss of her mum and her sister, both to the same horrible disease that Tina now lives with every day. Tina helped us to understand that she worried every day. She worried about her children. She worried about dying alone. She felt hopeless and scared. Tina trusted no one and witnessed the decline of her mum and sister around the time when they accepted support. Tina was a fighter. She fought this disease she lives with and fought everyone around her who was trying to help. She swore at support workers and lashed out at them physically. She put herself at risk in the community and did not care if she lived or died. In amongst the chaos and the fear, Tina told us about her hope. Hope that one day she'll feel happy every day, be alive and eating well and spending heaps of time at the beach. She's done it. With all of her strength and all of her courage, Tina showed us all how to support her in a way that feels comfortable and less scary for her. Tina feels in control and Tina makes her own decisions. Tina continues to survive, and today tells us that she feels happy, alive, and enjoys meaningful relationships. What a woman, our teacher and our inspiration. No more chasing Tina around town with a butterfly net. She'll always be a free spirit, but she wants to live now. She feels safe and supported and knows she's still running ahead of that wolf called Huntington's. It hasn't caught her yet.